You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters. Welcome, fellow Stargazers. Your sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hi, Sarah.
Happy mid-August.
Mid-August, yes.
Episode 49. We're looking at Sunday, August 14th through Saturday, August 20th. Where do you want to start this week?
Yeah, we could just do a little bit of a review. We've come off of this full moon in Aquarius, which was squaring the nodes.
Yep.
So maybe that was a good experience for you. Maybe it wasn't. It wasn't. There wasn't a whole lot of clarity with this particular lunation. And as we move into the week of the 14th through the 20th here, there's still some fog, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
So the moon moves from Pisces to Aries through Taurus, and it's in Gemini by the end of the week.
Okay.
Now, that means the moon is going to hit up with Uranus and our friend, the North Node. And so that's kind of a reprise of the square that happened at the time of the full moon. So the sun and the moon were squaring that particular North Node, Uranus, and Mars aspect in Taurus.
Okay.
And this week, the moon will move from where it was in Aquarius through Pisces, Aries, and will come upon that configuration in Taurus. But now this week it will only make contacts to the North Node and Uranus, but still, that's just enough to give us that kind of unsettled feeling.
Okay.
Mars, by the end of the week, moves into Gemini. Now, this is a big deal because Mars is going to stay in Gemini for about 6 months.
Okay.
So it's moving forward now, but it's going to move retrograde or in apparent retrograde motion, and that means it'll stay in the Gemini sector of the zodiac for this extended period of time.
Okay.
So whatever happens as Mars moves into Gemini is about ideas. It's about looking at information collecting. It's looking at sorting out information. What is true, what is not true. It's a kind of a juggling sign. It's about pairs of things. So there's a lot of issues of duality in Gemini. So as Mars moves into Gemini, it wants to sort things out. It wants to make a decision. Now, the sorting out piece, that's one of the best uses for the action of Mars in Gemini. But I just would caution not to throw things away while Mars is in Gemini, because it's this activating, it wants to sort things out. It wants to put things in piles and separate things out and, make everything neat and orderly and make sense of it. That's also part of what Gemini does. And because Mars will be moving first in the forward direction and then move backwards, you may need some of those things that you're being, prompted to get rid of or sort through. So I wouldn't make any rash decisions or wouldn't throw stuff out until you're really, until maybe you've really considered and, gone over it a couple of times, or what's storing it for another few months while Mars is moving through Gemini, There might be lots of calls to action this week. Now, this is partly because of Mars' move into Gemini, but also we have Saturn at opposition, which means that Saturn's facing the sun, and it's the closest it gets to Earth. Oh. So it's going to be very bright in the sky, and Saturn is also one of those decision makers. Saturn's in Aquarius. It wants to nail things down. It wants to make decisions. It's all about rules, regulations, what's the good for the many as opposed to the few. And so it can be really tempting to kind of chuck those rules, regulations, duties, out the window.
Yeah.
But the sun is also, kind of calling us, the sun in Leo is kind of calling us to kind of hold our own, And, let this opposition of Saturn pass before we make, before we kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
Got it. Yeah.
At the same time, on Sunday, Mars is trine Pluto. So again, Mars is in the last 26 degrees of Taurus. It wants to it's making a trine back to Pluto. This is a power aspect. You want to take action, or you can just let it be.
Yeah. Yep.
And because actual motives may be clouded, and action for action's sake is not really advised.
Okay. Yep.
Unless you've got a really solid reason for taking action. And sometimes with Mars trine Pluto, it's all about revenge or taking action, to be spiteful, that kind of thing. So I would really just look at your motives.
Yep.
Now, Tuesday, Mercury is in Virgo. It trines Uranus in Taurus. So there's this information of a practical nature that might be surprising but useful, that might come to light.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the Sun makes a quincunx to Neptune. Okay, so Sun in Leo, it's all about wanting to shine and taking self-expressive steps, right?
Yeah.
But then Neptune in Pisces is very nebulous. So you're kind of prompted to kind of step into the limelight, but then you're like, ooh, this dream isn't so much fun, it's a good time for mental pursuits rather than decision making or stepping out into something that you may not be completely comfortable with. So there's this theme kind of, and we're in the middle of the week now, but there's this theme running through the week of just these decisions or promptings that you might feel called to act on. You do not have to act on.
Yep.
Okay, so that's another, the Sun, Quincunx, Neptune is another one of those signs that is saying, you can feel good about this, but you don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay to just dream about it rather than making a decision about anything. And it might be great to record your dreams or your inspirational ideas. If you don't have the clarity right now, that's totally fine. It's one of the signatures of the time not to have clarity.
Okay.
Again, kind of this reprise of this dreaminess or uncertainty. On Thursday, Mercury quincunxes Saturn. So messages, news is unclear, or it could be overwhelming, and direction is not focused. You can't get a grip on what decision to make.
Man.
Friday, Sun quincunx Pluto. So again, we have this action is not advised.
Yeah.
Be careful of motives. So there's this kind of theme that's running through the week with these quincunxes, with the Moon conjunct Neptune on Sunday, with Saturn in opposition, with Mars trine Pluto. These things are not, there's a lack of clarity.
Yeah.
And so it's just a really good week to kind of hold your own and just, if you get some downloads of great ideas, just record them. You don't have to act on anything.
Okay.
On Saturday, Mars moves into Gemini.
Okay.
And that's where we get, this information overload.
Yeah.
Not sure what to make of it. And again, action is not advised. Even though Mars wants to pick a side, it wants to take a stand, it's not going to be a good idea because there's this flood of information that is just cannot be sorted into neat piles. And then on Sunday the 21st, I know we're going past our Saturday cutoff, but this Sunday on the 21st, Mercury is in opposition to Neptune. So again, misperception, the possibility for deceit, confusion. The messages are unclear. Also, your intuition can be strong, but not reliable.
Okay.
So this is a week to just kind of chill a bit. Yeah. Pay attention to your intuition. Pay attention to the things that you're being prompted to do. You do not have to act on anything. And especially with, the Mars trine Pluto, the Mars going into Gemini, and this opposition, the Saturn at opposition to the Sun, you're going to be called to kind of make these decisions, but it's really okay to table them.
Okay.
Things are not clear, or they're not as clear as they should be in order to make a decision that impacts other things,
All right.
So that's kind of the roundup for the week. Yeah, lots of quincunxes. So those are an aspect that does not come to resolution. It's almost like an opposition, and it's not quite. So you can't get the clarity of a full conflict or a full clearly not in your favor.
Yeah.
But it's not quite in your favor, and it's not quite out of your favor.
Yeah. I mean, the word itself just sounds clunky and kind of discombobulating.
A
quincunx. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a 150-degree angle.
Well, I don't have any questions. I didn't pull a card for this week. I feel kind of foggy. I feel like it's just like a lot of energy that's hard to make clarity out of.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. And then there is also, we didn't tie this in, but there is also it's the last quarter moon on the 19th, actually. And it's the moon will be trine Pluto.
Oh my gosh.
in this, moon square sun. So again, this last quarter moon is about this kind of feeling out of sorts, and it's not there. It's a square between the sun and the moon. And within an hour of that particular configuration of the sun square moon, the moon is trine Pluto. So it's again, this kind of like, like how do you handle difficulties or the feelings that are coming up, or maybe someone has just kind of downloaded, some conflict to you or for you.
Yeah.
And so it's again this kind of unsettled energy that isn't quite, you can't quite you don't quite know what to do with it, and you can't quite make heads or tails of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I can pull a card. I've got
some
cards here.
Sure, why not?
Just for fun.
Why
I'm just gonna shuffle, do a little shuffle buffle and see what Okay, so we have in the cutting of the deck we have the Emperor and the Queen of Swords.
Okay.
Which is a lot of mental energy and trying to kind of come to decision making.
Okay.
Not so much that there is a decision to make, but that there's like this back and forth. So that can also be that Gemini energy. Queen of Swords is also like the Queen of Gemini, air sign. Let's see here. What have we got? In the second cutting of the deck, we have the Six of Cups and the Three of Wands. So kind of this sense of like looking to the past, maybe looking at decisions or more happier times, maybe reminiscing a little bit. And then the Three of Wands is looking out over taking stock and kind of looking at potentials, that's a really good thing to do this week.
Okay. All right.
One more. We have the Wheel of Fortune and then the Three of Wands again. So looking at that, there might be some... and there was a good aspect this week I wanted to mention. I totally forgot. Venus trines Jupiter. Okay. So Venus in Leo trines Jupiter in Aries. So this could be our Wheel of Fortune, which is, a lot. Venus in Leo is about self-expression and about kind of being out there and having fun. Okay. With Jupiter in Aries taking the initiative. So I could see that would be, that's happening Thursday the 18th. So a good time to follow your bliss. Okay. It's also a good time to kind of discover or play with your heart's desire. And this could be a person, a vocation, a hobby. So that's the highlight of the week on Thursday the 18th, this Venus trine Jupiter. Really just allow yourself to have some fun with that and just kind of revel in it, because Leo trine Aries, it's like it's some fire. It's some passion, it's some desire, it's some hopeful qualities. So that's definitely the Wheel of Fortune for the week.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for that breakdown. If you've got questions, fellow listeners, you can email us at connect@sisterstargazers.com. Don't forget, you can on Monday nights tune in and call into our live astrology call-in show on WMPG 90.9 FM. And we'll just use this week to funnel and chronicle our dreams and challenges, I guess. No action required.
No action required this week, that's for sure. Except have some fun with that sparkling aspect of Venus. Thursday, the 18th, that aspect of Venus trine Jupiter.
Thank goodness for Venus.
Yes.
What would we do without her?
Follow your bliss.
Yeah. All right, Jude, thanks so much for this.
Thank you, Sarah.
We'll check in next week.
Sounds good. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.